Echo from Omega Infinity. Thank you so much for taking some time to speak with me. And on behalf of Metal Rules, the new album is absolutely incredible.
Thanks,
And
man.
yeah, I may be asking you some questions you've heard before, but there are so many things I just want to know about the process and about kind of the conceptual aspect of the new album. And kind of first, just to get this out of the way, I've heard you speak about the void, and just to
Yeah.
kind of like clear up things for everyone. The void, is it the literal sense of space, or is it kind of also like the idea of time kind of stretching?
I think it's the thing. It's the thing that is like in between everything. It's could be. I can give you a few examples. What
Please.
the void is to us is like it can be the darkness between star systems. It can be like uh, I don't know if you go down and look in at molecular structures. If you go what if you zoom into atoms, if you zoom into all that makes atoms, like what's in between, that's also the void. The void can also be um, an interval between two points in time. So basically, it's everything that's in between the cracks of existence, so to say. So everything that you can't see, that you can't touch.
So okay, yeah. So sort of like dark matter, but yeah, kind of all encompassing. Yeah.
Kind
I
of. Yeah, we might explore that in the future. I don't know yet, but uh,
Well, yeah, I didn't want to retread on too many questions. I know you're probably getting interviewed like crazy, but I did find it like really fascinating when I read that you had written the Anti-Current kind of together with Solar Spectre,
mhm,
and I found that interesting because um, to me they are quite dissimilar, both in sound and
mhm.
in kind of concept. And if I may ask, the two covers I found the most fascinating. I always thought of Solar Spectre as maybe something more akin to Dark Space. It was maybe an homage to
Mhm.
the classic cosmic black metal. But then when I heard your a fantastic Emperor cover, the melodies, the layers, the synths, they started to arise, and I see some influence from Emperor and maybe from Ishan
Sure.
and a lot more prog. Um,
Mm.
when you wrote the Anti-Current, shortly thereafter, Solar Spectre. How much has it changed? Did the 2 years of the pandemic did did it evolve greatly, or is it more or less the same as you left it back in 2020?
Um, I think it's more or less the same, but what happened was, I mean, we had everything finished except the vocals, and that
Hmm.
was that was the problem because Zen lives in Melbourne, and they had the the hardest lockdown in the whole world, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
for a long time, and he wasn't even able to go out, and that was the problem. It sounds like a small problem, like mundane, but he couldn't even go out and rent a microphone to sing because he had, at one point, we said, hey, you know what, let's take the advance and like we build you a box so that you can record at home because I basically have my home setup here. I've got my drum set in the cellar. I do most of the things on the computer. Mastering, I've got some external person for that. Um, but most things I'm able to do here, and Zen wasn't able to do that. So that what took some time. And when he had his vocal booth, he didn't have a mic, so he that literally was the problem. He couldn't go out and rent one.
Okay.
Um, so that's what took so long. And the album was finished. Like it's finished for several years now. And what happened is when I had the vocals, I usually I usually wait with the mix until everything is there. Like I have the vocals, I see where everything sits in the like where everything has to be in the mix. And I was experimenting with all the vocal tracks, and I tried to like do some crazy shit with it, like do some. warped distortions. So every time you hear something on the album, like screeches in the background or something, like something that sounds like kind of a metallic entity from space or whatever, that are actually vocal tracks that I kind of distorted and experimented with. So
Very cool.
that's new. That happened. I didn't have that on the album before I had the vocals, so that happened recently only. And I think it has added a new layer, and I'm going to um, try that again on the next albums because it sounds. I like eerie sounds. You might have noticed that while
Yeah.
listening to the album. So, um, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do more on the next albums.
Kind of continuing on that theme, one of my favorite, I guess, quotes of yours is when you spoke about Genesis being your favorite band.
Ah, mm-hmm,
Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. I'm a huge Peter Gabriel fan myself, so I kind of I like to connect music and see where influence comes
mm,
from. And late era Peter Gabriel was very industrial, and I heard a lot of industrial on the first album. Uh,
mm.
but again, the second album kind of it distanced itself from that, and I was wondering if you listen to music during the recording and writing process, does it influence and evolve the structure, or do you kind of come at it with a straight concept and let
Mm.
nothing affect it?
Well, when I write or when I do them, I like to call it like the if I write the melodies, if I write the riffs, I'm trying not to be influenced by anything. But if I put when I put everything together, I tend to get influenced by stuff I'm hearing at the time, just to okay, this is interesting. I could do that too, or whatever. It can be like a small thing, like something because you tend to listen differently if you record your own stuff, if you have like experience in the studio with album recordings. And I mean, both Zen and I have other bands too, so I've got a few albums under my belt. I've been to a few recording studios. I think it's about I might have recorded like 10 or 12 albums in a studio, in a real studio. um, and you pick up things. So you
Yeah.
pick up things that you pick up knowledge, you pick up techniques, and you tend to listen differently to albums. Um, it's not like I can't go back to just be a fan because I record my albums, so I know what's going on, and I try to dissect everything. It's like, okay, I'm listening to, I don't know, the new Enslaved comes out. I will be listening to it. I will see, okay, this will have a great production. Um, I try to I try to learn from the things I hear. Like, okay, how could they have done this? I read interviews. Okay, this was done by some new effect they were trying out, or some crazy shit like recording stuff. I don't know with crazy things you can do. So yeah, I always try to listen to stuff, and then I try to read interviews of artists that I appreciate, and see if I can learn something too. So yes, that does influence me, of course. Mm.
Cool. Yeah, I wondered about that because of the departure in sound. But if I can jump back again, sorry to the concept of the
Sure.
album, I've been listening to it, and perhaps the most interesting thing I thought, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, is um, a kind of a concept, and I'm hoping for a third album very soon. That'll be
Mhm.
fantastic. I almost
I can
think of
spoil. I can spoil a bit. It's written. It's done.
it's
There's a
done. Okay,
concept. There's
excellent.
a title. Everything's there. Just vocals. But
Wait,
we'll get to that.
that okay, excellent. Yeah,
Yeah.
because just thinking more about the Void, I actually I feel
Mm.
like the Anti-Current could be listened to first before Solar Spectre, just because of kind of the warmth and excitement and explosion of it, and
Mm.
the thematic kind of arch of the universe being created, being born, and then maybe Solar Spectre would be a second part where you'd kind of pull out and you could see the universe for kind of the cold, stark, dark place it is. Um, so I really love kind of the interchangeable nature of both. That it
Mm.
kind of like it ties together, kind of from either side. What, if I may ask, what made you decide to kind of get away from like a strict concept with where you had the planets on the first one, and then you came to such a much broader scope, kind of
Oh, but
like
there
the
is a
history of
strict
time.
concept. There is a strict concept, I would say.
Oh yeah, okay.
Or to me at least, it's
Hmm.
like there is kind of this. Well, if you look at it like in general, of course, it's covering the whole universe, like birth and death. But that's the concept. Like it's I'm starting at birth. I'm moving through time. The middle part is basically a focus on, um, I think after the like you have the alpha, then you have creation. That's like okay, the
Iron
the alpha
Age and
obviously
yeah.
starts in chaos, like with the Big Bang. So
Hmm.
um, it comes sort of together after, I would say, an intro of 2 to 3 minutes, and then the real song starts. But still, I would say the alpha is the intro to the whole album. Like that's what you mentioned when I mentioned like Genesis and their style of songwriting. You always have an album flow, and the alpha to me is basically an intro. I know uh, that this will never be a single in terms of like, I mean, the label was like, okay, are you crazy? What's this? I was like, okay, this has to be here because it makes sense in the whole album context. And then, um, after 3 minutes, the intro is done. You have parts of a song, then creation comes in. It's basically about the birth of stars, like everything um, coming together. Yeah, you've got stardust. Then stars are being born, planets are being born. Everything starts to um, starts to become a picture. And with Iron Age, the focus comes to uh, not necessarily the human society, but societies in general, if there are any. And Iron Age is basically the birth of conflict, of war. And then you've got Banished from Eden, which is basically about um, societies going at each other's throat. And then the next one, To the Stars, is like, okay, we can only survive if we put all that aside and journey to the stars, because we need space. We need to like explore. We need to expand, and we can't stay on only one planet. That's basically what it's about, because it's too dangerous. Too many things can happen like if you look at news from like I try to read astronomic news once in a while, and it's pretty frightening what can
Yeah.
happen at like any time. There is like, I mean, every other week is like, okay, oh, we found a comet few kilometers in diameter, and it's going to miss us by a very tiny amount of of distance. So yeah, uh, we just discovered that there is this comet, and he's going to like he's here in 2 days. So if something not just misses but hit us,
Hmm.
that's it.
Yeah.
And it's like that can happen anytime. So basically that's what To the Stars is about. We need to expand, we need to like be safe in space, not only on one planet. And then comes Death Race, where like, yeah, but it doesn't matter because the universe is going to hurt anyway, and everything will die
Yeah.
in a way. And then you have Voices from the End of Time, where the universe implodes, and that's the end until the next Big Bang, maybe.
That's kind of fascinating to me because I often think of kind of our insignificance, but like there's still such a curiosity, and I was wondering if you're going to continue to explore space or maybe look more inwards on another album. I feel like the first album was this big, beautiful, kind
Mhm,
of just like it was like watching a sci-fi film from the 60s or 70s. It was just kind of
mm,
awe-inspiring as you float through space. And this album, it felt very operatic, and with the added vocals, Adrian and Marta,
mm.
it felt kind of far more dramatic, and it felt like it was going towards the introspect. I was
Mm.
wondering if you're going to kind of take the idea of the void and dark matter and time and kind of look more into the human condition, or if you're going to go further out into space.
I can spoil a little bit because I might have said it in another interview.
Okay.
The next album is basically space is a cold and harsh and hostile place. It's beautiful but deadly.
Hmm.
And the next album is about this, I would say, contrast of beauty and death. Like, yeah, basically, it's about things that can kill you out there. It would
Very cool.
be, yeah.
That's
It
awesome.
will. It won't have that vast scope, I would say.
Okay.
But I'm trying to get it. I mean, we covered the whole universe, like from birth to the
Hmm.
end. So we have to kind of do an introspect now because we've explored the macroverse, so to say. So we're going back to focus on certain things in the universe, sort of.
That's cool. I meant to ask you earlier too. Did you record the first album with Zen Studio, or was that recorded separately uh, before the project?
No, we have met several times,
Okay.
and we are going to meet again in May when Nebula Viscaris will tour Europe,
Okay.
which I'm looking forward to because it's always great to meet up after all these years. I think it's been 3 years since we last met,
Wow.
or four even. Um, yeah, kind of. I mean, we have to wait until Nebula Viscaris are touring
Mm.
because then we have the chance to meet because I have played in bands before, but when we toured, it was always Europe. It's no way we're going to Australia. So yeah, he has to come, but he will.
If I may ask a
um,
personal question too,
mm,
I hope I'm not stepping out over a boundary, but you've said in the past that you're not a fan of touring or you're not interested at the moment. Um, is
yeah.
is that just a distaste for kind of being on the road, or is it just do you find it more rewarding to kind of work on your own and you know be reliant on yourself?
Um, I have been in a live performing band for a very long time. We have rehearsed very steadily, I would say, over the years, 2 days a week with pauses and exceptions.
Hmm.
Um, and you might know that Marta is my wife. So we have been in a band together before. We have been in Tokelichter before. She was the singer, I was drummer. And when we have two children. One is 10, and the little one is turning 5 this
Hmm.
year. So it's a bit of a logistic problem,
I see.
actually, or it has been a logistic problem because, yeah, with two parents in a band, it's not like, I mean, if you're in a band, like the people, your band members will go to rehearsal, like, okay, let's do like 2 hours of rehearsal and then, drink a beer and then we go home. For us, it always was like, okay, with two children, we can do this on the weekend. Let's do it on a Saturday because like everyone wanted to have a Saturday because this was like Sunday, I'm going to stay at home and chill.
Yep.
So it was Saturday. For us, it meant like getting up, getting the kids ready, bringing the kids to my parents, which is like half an hour away. Then you have to stay there because you just, you can't shove the kids in their faces and leave. It's like, okay, if we stay, we talk a bit, we chat, then we go like 1 hour through the city, which is, I mean, it's still privileged. I know that other bands have like uh, longer longer ways to go to the rehearsal room, but
Mm.
still it's 1 hour. Then you rehearse. It's 2 hours or three because not everyone is on point. Most people, most of the times, everyone's late. Then chill, build up everything. So that takes time. Then you rehearse. You move back. You get the children. You cook dinner, and then day is over. And on
Yeah.
Sunday, you do everything that you haven't managed to do on Saturday. So for basically for 2 hours of rehearsal, uh, the weekend is over. Like
Yeah.
you don't have a weekend. And we said that can't go on like this forever. So I always felt that I could do good on my own, which I think I proved now with 2 albums.
Mhm. Absolutely.
So I was like, if Totgelichter is going to exist, then Marta will stay in the band and someone else can drum because, we do have great drummers in Hamburg. And actually, if Totgelichter will do something live, it will be, and he already filled in one time for me. It's Vanya. Many people know him as Nechtan. He's the drummer of Keep of Kalesen at the moment.
Okay.
Um, yeah, he's from Hamburg. He's a good friend, and he is definitely. I mean, he's better at me. He's better than me anyway. So, um, the first concert he did, I was like, I went as a roadie and I watched my own band playing, which was kind of great. The band that I founded, like I don't know, oh, it's 20 years with a guitar player. And for the last song, the guitar player came down and we stand there, we watched our band playing, that was kind of an out of body experience,
It
but it
kind of
was great.
it goes back to what you were
So
saying earlier about the influence while recording is musicians
uh,
always tell me that you should make the music that you want to hear. So I can imagine that was probably
yeah,
that you had to be proud to watch your art
yeah, it
and
was
watch
great.
it
I
be
mean, we
successful.
always fantasize about like, hey, wouldn't it be great if you were to play live, but you didn't actually play live? You just, chill out backstage, drink beer, and talk with friends, and you can have stunt doubles play or something. So
Yeah,
that's what I did. I
that's
let
great.
my stunt double play, and he was even better than me. So everything was good. Yeah, but this is. I think I can do good on my own, and Marta needs a band, I would
Mm,
say. So this is how we split up the tasks now. She performs in a band if there ever is anything to perform, because at the moment it's yeah a bit on ice everything. And I'm content with what I'm doing right now. Like I can if I want to drum, I go into the cellar. I get behind my drum kit, I drum stuff. Mostly, I would say I use the my time um, to write songs, to write new stuff. I can go down, record it whenever I want. So yeah, life is always like that's a different world. You have to plan logistics. You have to um, think different. It's like stuff that is just not fun to me anymore because I was doing the tour managing stuff like for several years, and
mm.
it's uh, too much work for too little joy, I would say. So maybe that will change, but at the moment it's I'm good.
Well, thank you very much for that candid answer. That's fantastic. To hear that you have a family and that you're happy.
Yeah.
I think the whole world would hope that Omega Infinity will make at least one or two appearances, perhaps at a festival. And
For
I
that
might,
to
yeah,
happen,
Yeah.
For that to happen, I'd say Zen would need to move to Europe,
Okay.
and I would need to be persuaded to teach people stuff that I don't even know how to play because it's
Uh,
you know, writing on a computer is easy, but actually performing this, I mean, I'm a drummer,
mhm.
so and I can do synth and I can emulate guitars, but I can't play them. So this will be interesting, I would say.
It will
Maybe
be
at
a
one point it will happen, but I don't know. I don't
uh,
know when.
I will definitely be holding my breath. I
Mhm.
yeah, I just want to say thanks again for your time. I appreciate you staying up and talking to me, and thank you again for the music. The new album is fantastic, and you'll
Thanks.
see a review up on Metal Rules tomorrow when we do our release. And yeah, just thanks again. And
Thanks for the interview, man. It
no,
was
no, yeah, I appreciate it,
very
and the
interesting.
patience and taking the time to talk to me. So, yeah, Omega Infinity, the Anti Current, it's out now. Thanks again. Have a great night.
Thank you. Bye.